Hello everyone, I am Shiana and today I am going to tell you what a mind map is and how to make one. So basically, mind map is a type of a flow chart that we can make for easily memorizing and summarizing the various things that are there in the story, which includes the theme, message, various characters, their character sketch, as well as some important information that is given so that we can easily revise it and it helps in memorization, like I said. So, a mind map can be made for any topic. It can be related to social science or science and even mathematics. And you can, it helps at a last minute revision. Like before an exam, when you have to go through an entire chapter, you can't read every single line. So you can simply see the mind map and read out all the major points that is given, and then you can obviously revise. So today what I'm going to tell you is about how to make a mind map in English. And we are going to make a mind map of a very common story, Aladdin. And it has many movie adaptations, and I know many of us might have watched it. And I also have the book with me. It's a colorful book with lots of illustrations, and it will help you, think, memorize and remember all the characters that are there. So let's get started with the mind map. I'm going to write first. You have to write the name of the story, whichever you're taking. I've taken Aladdin, so I'm going to write that. Then you can enclose it in a box or a circle. So it's your choice if you want to keep it in the middle of the page or at the top. That all depends, but I am taking it in the middle. Then I'm going to make arrows for all the various topics that I'm going to cover under this. So you can also write it as points, but I'm making, as I said, I'm going to make a flow chart out of it. So I'm making arrows. First, I'm going to write the theme of the story. Change my marker to show the difference. So, theme basically, first theme that we all theme is basically the major topic or the inner values that the story is trying to teach us. So basically, from Aladdin, what we learn is that finding the strength and wealth in ourselves, within us. So I'm going to write it. Finding strength and wealth within us. That is a major theme highlighted. Now, there can be many more themes, but right now I'm just giving a few examples. So, next thing we're going to move on is message. Now, the major people usually get confused between a message and a theme, and that is common. Even I do get. So basically, message, the major difference between message and a theme is that message is an example of the theme that is being depicted in a story. Message actually is the main idea that what one reader can understand from the story. So it's sort of like the theme, but if you see it, it's like an example. It's defining your theme. Like the message the story Aladdin is giving us that we should believe in ourselves. So we can write it, believe ourselves. So when we believe in ourselves, like the story said, the cave of wonders could only be entered by a diamond in the rough. Now that diamond in the rough could be poor as well as rich. But for being the diamond in the rough, Aladdin had to be true in himself. He had to be loyal, he had to be true, and he had to believe in himself. Like I said, one of the messages, believe in ourselves. So the second message that we can find in the story is that magic, like the genie did, magic, power, strength, it can change your outside, your appearance, but it can never change who you are from within. until and unless you don't, you don't get falsely attracted or manipulated by that wealth or the power that you're looking for. The message could be, so it would be, outer appearance does not define who you are from within. So I have written my second message as, outer appearance does not define your character from within. Now next, let's move to the characters. So our main characters that we have, I'll just mention it. So our characters that are given in the story are our protagonist Aladdin, Jasmine the princess. So I'm going to mention all the characters in a chronological order as they are being presented. So Aladdin, then Jasmine, then we have Abu also, the Aladdin's sidekick, the monkey. Then we have the genie that Aladdin finds in the Cave of Wonders. Then we'll have Jafar, who is the antagonist. The antagonist is the villain in the story. Then we also have the Sultan and the magic carpet, but they are not as important as these characters are in the story. So now let's move on to the character sketch. Now a character sketch is basically describing the, it could be the appearance, the values and the morals that the character teaches us. So first I'm going to write about Aladdin, our main protagonist. So some of his character sketch, his values could be that we can mention he was a diamond in the rough, which actually means that he was true to who he was. I mean, even though being a street rat, like it's shown in the starting of the story, that even though he didn't have food and he was poor, but still when he saw others who were more poor than them, he gave his food, the food that though he had stolen it, but he gave that to the others so that they who were more poor, more hungrier than him, could eat and not die of starvation. So we can write a diamond in the rough. So the next point could be that even though he was a thief, he had a heart of gold and he was very caring and he was extrovert also, and he saved the kingdom in the end from the malicious intentions of the wicked vizier of the Sultan, the evil sorcerer Jafar. So I can write the next point as, although a thief had a heart of gold. Next I can write caring first. So these are a few points that I have written for the character sketch of Aladdin, and of course you can add more because these are a few examples. Now the next I'll write about, I'll make an arrow. Next I'll write about our antagonist, that is Jafar. I'll give you 3 character sketch only for Genie, Aladdin and Jafar because they are main in the story, and you can obviously write for the other characters as well because I'm just giving an example right now. So for Jafar, we'll first write who he was. He was the Grand Vizier to the Sultan and the sorcerer Then he had malicious intentions. Malicious intentions of taking over the kingdom. Of Agrabah. And we can also write more points like his evil intentions led him to his own doom. But you can obviously add more because I don't have more space, and like I said, I'm just giving an example. Now let's move on to the next character, that is Ginny. And so the values that we get from him is that he was a good friend because he saved Aladdin's life when he was drowning. The next thing is that even he, in his lifetime of being a genie, he had seen many people who had evil desires like riches, power, but according to him, Aladdin had a heart of gold, and he was not like the other ones who wanted power. Rather, he just at that point of time wanted to get out of the cave, and he used his wit. So yeah, you can write another character sketch for Aladdin as a witty person. Okay, let's moving back to Genie. We can write the next thing as we can write that he was trapped because he wanted to go free from being a genie. So obviously that shows that he was trapped in the lamp. So the next point that we can write for Genie is that he always voted for truth because it can be seen him telling Aladdin to tell the truth to Jasmine about him truly being a commoner, a person who lived in the village, in the kingdom of Agrabah, and not as a prince of a Babwa as he was claiming to be. So it could be that Genie resisted lies. Voted for truth. Now you can add other points also according to you. I'll just make a small partition to show you that these are the two different character sketches and they don't get mixed up. Yep. Okay. So this is the character sketch of Jafar and this is for Aladdin. Okay. Now let's move on to the next point, that is the moral of the story. Moral is basically the moral values or the good qualities that we should include in our life, in ourselves as as human beings. So the moral values that we can learn from the stories, the moral values is to be helpful, then kindness. Next could be what we can learn is courage, knowing your capabilities, so self-confidence, we can write that. Now we will also mention the point knowing your capabilities. The film also portrays love, so that can also be said as the moral of the story. Though it is not, it's not necessary to mention that as well. But we can always mention it. There's no harm. So you can always add more moral. So these are the few morals that you may find. Oh, and apparently I forgot to mention the name of the author. I usually write the name of the author under the name of the story only. So, but since I have no space, I'll make another arrow and write the author. So it is said that the first literary version of the story Aladdin, it was written by a French author Antoine Galland, and who claimed to have heard it from a Syrian person telling the story. There's a lot of backstory to it also, which you can always search for. So I'm going to write the author. That is Antoine Galland. French author. Okay, so these were a few points that I've written in my mind map: theme, message, character, the character sketches, moral, the name of the author. So you can mention more points. In the story there can be different things will tell, like other major events that can take place in the story, and you can always include more, because mind map helps you to memorize and summarize and keep all these points in your mind. So if you just get a quick overview, you might even able to understand what all is being trying to show, trying to portray in the story. And to summarize it all, mind map is a very good and an effective way to learn and make complicated formulas or complicated concepts easier, and gives a much better way to learn. I hope you understand what a mind map is, how it's made, and you can take a help from this example also. And I'm sure you're going to make one now to understand their concepts. Thank you.